all the parents, I want to ask you to come and gather here. The video of former Nandi Hills Member of Parliament Alfred Keter being dragged from his car and bungled into another police vehicle, while the children are wailing at the sight of that, is very irritating. And any parent, I tried to put myself in those shoes. Any parent looking at that video must really get disturbed. And forcefully, he was taken out of that car. And we've seen the statement from President was asked today, and also DCI releasing a statement. This is inhuman to say the least.
Ni kama amekosa walikuwa wanafuata, si ndio? Ni kama alikosa, si ndio? Walikuwa wanamfuata polepole. Alikuwa amekosa huyu.
Alafu madam kada
alikuwa amekosa.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have looked, and after that I saw that video. I was in there, I was actually coming from church. I think it really blew my mind, and I was, wow, where are we heading as a country? So I've seen the reaction. The president has been asked that question today in the roundtable, what the DC have said, and I want us to break down and see what exactly is the state not telling Kenyans in the wake of that arrest come abduction, if you give it both. But before that, there is an urgent appeal I want us to do here. I want you to listen to this lady.
I have twisted my joint, my hip joint. Ni uchungu lakini msiache. Aluta continue. Niache nione nitibiwe. But msiache. Fight, don't stop. Fight mtu fight mpaka sisi wengine wenye tumeumia. Don't stop, fight for us. Fight for our freedom. Fight with your last drop. Mimi ningekuwa nimeumia kidogo ningeendelea, but siwezi tembea. Thank you.
Hi guys, I thank you so much for your support and your messages. I really appreciate. I'm still in a lot of pain. I cannot move, but I'm trying my best to get better.
That lady is called Brenda Nyabuto. She's twisted her hip joint. She attended the protest in Nakuru, and she was telling me that when the tear gas, when live bullets were fired, especially around the State House, they were running, and so she fell off from a ditch and twisted the hip joint. So she's still at home, and really she's reeling in pain. Even if you look at that, she's reeling in pain. And I've just spoken with her this evening, and I promised her that as Team Bold, I want her to take care of her case so that she can be taken back to the hospital on Wednesday. So just giving ourselves 2 days, just a brief support so that we can raise something to help this lady. I really saw that video and a bit broken. Now this lady needs a bit of support. Kindly, anything you can get. I'm not going to, even if you do 150, whatever you can get. I probably think if you can be able to raise 100,000 by Wednesday, we shall have supported her well so that she can go back to the hospital and she can get the treatment. She cannot walk, by the way. I've just spoken about she cannot walk. And I know there are quite a number, but I think this was forwarded to me by one of us, and we really opted to support her urgently. Kindly by Wednesday, I'll make sure kwamba amepelekwa hospitali. And the number is there. Now, When the president was confronted with this question about the issue of Alfred Keter, I found this response very casual.
I made 3 commitments that I will make sure the police is independent, and I did that on my first day in office. Number 2, I said there will be no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. I have kept my promise. Number 3, I have told you that if there is any arrest by the police, that does not amount to an abduction. In my very honest opinion.
Let's pause for a moment, Mr. President, and I just want us to go to that video over there, which will play on air, and let's pause and watch it together, Your Excellency. Let's watch this video.
Sell them to the people of Kenya. There are enough intelligent people in Kenya to differentiate what is good from what is better and what is best.
Some time?
Ni jambo mbaya sana kama tutatumia askari polisi kuumiza wananchi. Wako na maoni tofauti ya kisiasa.
And waeleza ya kwamba these people don't understand the damage they are doing to the people and the economy of Kenya.
All right. Yes, the video in contention here was recorded earlier today.
Yes.
That of former MP Alfred Keter being abducted in broad daylight. Mr. President, before you even talk about the entire incident, the children were screaming, and a sound that we believe belongs to the wife was also heard, screaming in distress. How does that make you feel?
3 things. I have told you, I made a deliberate decision to make sure that the police operate independently. That's number 1. Number 2, I have told you, if the police summon Linus Kaikai and Linus Kaikai refuses to go to the police, are the police not entitled to come and look for you? When the police come to arrest you after they have summoned you and you didn't show up, is that an abduction?
So let's have this as a confirmation. That
no, I'm just asking you.
Let's have this as a confirmation, Your Excellency, that Alfred Keter was summoned by police. He refused to
the police have
respond to
issued
the
a
summons.
statement. I would suggest, instead of us having a back and forth, the police have released a statement. Can you check what the police have released, the statement?
And you still not answered my question.
Which
the
was?
wife and children screaming that way.
I mean,
how do you feel, Your Excellency?
I mean, my friend, every child, every mother feels the same when their parent is under attack. I mean, that is what it is. But let me ask you, what about the children? What about the children of those who have lost their lives because of the criminality of others? Don't they feel the same? So we just need to be a country of the rule of law. Impunity cuts both ways. Those who respect the law must be protected by the law. Those who do not respect the law must face the full force of the law. That's how it operates. That's how we will have a society.
Here's the
same way we must condemn excessive use of police powers, but we must equally deal firmly and decisively with criminals who put the lives of other Kenyans in danger, destroy property of hard-earned earnings. There are many people, Linus, in this demonstration that have lost livelihoods, that today their children are crying. Today their wives are in tears because they don't know how to face tomorrow.
Mr. President,
their businesses have been wiped out. Their incomes have been destroyed. I have just told you 2.4 billion shillings worth of business has been destroyed.
I hear you,
and
Excellency.
today, as I talk to you this evening, there are families who have tears. There are families who do not know how to face tomorrow.
And I've asked you very specifically, President, how do you feel about those tears, especially those who have been killed
it's horrible.
by police bullets?
It is horrible. It is horrible. When you find a situation where people are grieving, whether they are grieving because their parents have been arrested, or they are grieving because their hard-earned earnings of many years, monies there, I have on my phone people who are saying, I borrowed money, my whole loan has been wiped out, my whole barber shop has been destroyed, my whole hardware has been looted and burnt, and they are in tears. So I must equally work with the police to protect all these citizens. And it cuts both ways, Linus. It cuts both ways.
Using the rule of law.
Absolutely.
Let me take you to just step by step.
Absolutely, the rule of law.
The rule of law says. The rule of law requires the police to investigate a matter, to, when they have sufficient evidence, present that to the ODPP. The Director of Public Prosecutions takes people who are culpable to court. That's the journey in the rule of law, Mr. President. In the case of 39 people who have been abducted, and the abduction here, we're using it deliberately because of the manner in which the people have been arrested, like we've seen in the case of Alfred Keter. Others who've been picked up from their houses in the middle of the night, and they are held incommunicado for more than 24 hours outside of what the rule of law says. And then they are not taken to court, so they are not charged with anything. That is outside of the rule of law. So in one instance here we are saying we are not following the rule of law. In the second instance, Mr. President, you have people who were unarmed, like in the case of Rex, who was shot in the middle of the night, unarmed, who have been shot by police and they've ended up dead. 24 of them. You say 19. That again is extrajudicial, because there is no justification that has been produced to show that there was justification for the police to use the excessive force. So basically we are showing examples where the rule of law, which you promised to uphold, which you also set and said, this is what the police has been doing. And you said, Mr. President, as you took office, that the problems with the police service also are going to the top, the leadership of the police service. And you promised the people of Kenya that you're going to hold the police to account outside of the rule of law and accountability, which comes to your desk. Are you holding the police accountable for 39 people abducted, for 24 people killed, for 627 people arrested and not charged, for 431 people injured by live bullets, rubber bullets, tear gas canisters, police batons?
Latif, as I have told you, we must operate within the parameters of the rule of law. And I agree with you. The police must never act outside the framework of the rule of law. They must do that which only the Constitution and the law allows them to do. And it is very clear that any operation of the police outside the parameters of the law, the police will be held to account. Whether it is holding citizens beyond the stipulated time, but I must be thoroughly clear to you. When police arrest somebody, there is a constitutional timeline which they are allowed by the law to hold that person.
24 hours.
That does not amount to an abduction.
24 hours.
In my opinion. A case in point is what has just been said here about what happened earlier today. And you guys clearly said in this conference that was an abduction. I mean, it's just clear now that it is not an abduction.
They are not
This is an arrest. And the police have come forward to say, this is the situation, we have arrested this person, and it is just good for us to all of us follow the law. And I agree with you, the police must act within the law.
Less fortunate in this society. You cannot intimidate us into silence. And I want to say I'm coming out strong. We will follow what whatever measures they want us to say. We were coming back tomorrow, or we come even the day after tomorrow. But one thing that I want to promise you, we will never be intimidated to silence. We will continue fighting for the rights and the citizens of this republic, because we believe unless we speak about these issues, many people will not speak about it. You can see we have a parliament where they've already compromised most of the members of parliament. They are taking money instead of making decisions based on what the common management wants. They do it to reflect the positions and the opinions of their bosses. But we want to say that we must continue with this struggle to ensure that no punitive taxes are imposed upon the common management. Allow me to introduce my wife to speak about the issues that she felt at a very personal level, because we were together in the car when this incident happened. Thank you so much.
My name is John, and I can say I'm still traumatized at this time because we were from church, as is usual, every Sunday we go to church, and we had plans for the day. And while we were leaving church, a car just went to us and left us, and we were all traumatized because things happened so fast. So the thing I just want to say, because the people who came to arrest him, or rather abduct him, were men. You people are fathers. God will avenge us, because whatever you have left in the hearts of my children, it is only God that can avenge them. Wherever they are still calling and asking, where is God? And I was not even sure whether I'm going home with that. They are done today. So may God punish this.
It is very true that police has released a statement. But if you're a keen listener, there is something the president is saying there. He's being asked, how about the children crying? And then he's saying, those children are crying because their father has been dragged out of that car. But how about the parents whose children were also killed and are crying? Is it injustice for injustice? But if you listen to that statement carefully, you will get to understand there is something that the president is saying there. The president is saying that probably the children of Alfred Keter should not be a big issue to the country, because there are other children, that there are other parents who are also crying because their children died. So, is the state clearly or outrightly insinuating that the arrest of Keter is linked with what happened in the last week's protest? Is that the question? And secondly, I think both cases, no one is fair. You cannot say that those children, it's not a big issue. And I think that is casual. Sometimes the president needed to understand that the person in question there is the child. And I think that is why Lennox Kakai asked that question twice. Does it bother you seeing those children crying? So the issue here is not even about the arrest of Keter. The issue here is about children. Now, even during the last protest, did we see such a video? And parents will see the emotional appeal is with the parents watching that video, watching that interview, and they're wondering, what exactly is President Ruto saying? Or what is he not saying that he wants to tell the country? I think the response, having known very well that that was something that was trending, I think the State House advisors would have done better. And if I were them, what the president would have done outrightly is to say it as it is. Whatever happened is inhumane. Even if you don't want to throw the people that arrested, the security officers that arrested under the bus, but you must acknowledge first that that is inhumane. You cannot call that an arrest. Sunday. So why is he being booked? And if you want to know something is not very clear, when just after this uproar, and remember this is not the first one. The question about abduction, this is not the first one. There are people that have been abducted, have been allegedly arrested as he said, and after the arrest, they disappear for some 2 days. Their families are tensed and pressured over the disappearances of their kids, only for them to reappear after some days. But then they're not being taken to court, including Oduor. So they're not being taken to court. So there is an abduction, arrest. But why do people say abduction? It's abduction because an arrest, you should arrest and then say, I'm taking you to place X and Y. You can't arrest, then disappear with him. You don't take him to a police station that is known. You don't give him right to, you don't produce him in court. Then probably that was just a mental torture. So responding to that, I think it was a bit casual. Listen to a response from DCI. With all fairness, I want us to listen to what they have clarified. And they're saying, contrary to the misinformation circulating on social media on alleged abduction of Honorable Alfred Keter by unknown men, this is to confirm that Honorable Keter was arrested earlier today by NPS officers for conspiracy to traffic firearms and incitement to violence. He was booked at Kamukunji police station and later released pending forensic analysis of exhibits. Thereafter, the file will be forwarded to the ODPP for direction. Police are urging members of the public to refrain from acts of violence, hate speech and malice for sustained peace and security in our beloved country. Very good statement. And then it's talking about released pending forensic analysis of exhibits. Question. So what were the exhibits there? Because what we saw, the MP was, the former MP was arrested. What is it? And if you look at the charges, officers for conspiracy, the officers that arrested him are conspiracy to traffic firearms and incitement to violence. Traffic firearms ni kuleta bunduki. Are there firearms in the hands of civilians that you can easily attribute? I found that statement, yes, they're trying to justify the arrest, but if you, within that time, within 1 or 2 hours, you have interviewed him, you have interrogated him and released him, and then you want to call that you were doing something substantive. Forensic audit of exhibits. Which are those exhibits? Probably we should be told. Is it his phone? Is it what? So ladies and gentlemen, that is what and do you agree? Let's just ask. Do you think it's an arrest or abduction? Do you think it's an arrest or abduction? Because maybe we are not getting it. And if you're not getting it, then maybe we are not getting it. Now, this is coming a day after Keter made a speech yesterday in Bondo. And he was accompanied, he was with the Embakasi East Member of Parliament, Babu Owino. And while in Bondo, this is what Alfred Keter made.
Watu wa Bondo chamke. Mheshimiwa Babu Owino. Freddy Komondi. Tukasema pole ujumbe wenu. Tumekuja tukasimama kule Ugunja, tukasema lazima tufike hapa Bondo. Ni sawa? Watu wa Rift Valley wanawasalamia, mnawasalamia. Ukiona juzi karanga kule Eldoret nzuri kabisa. Uliangalia? Si iliwaka moto kule? Wangapo waliona moto iliwaka kule Eldoret kabisa. Hata niwaambie mambo matatu. Kwanza kabisa ningependa kuwashukuru kwa sababu tumeshikana kama kitu kimoja kuhakikisha Zakayo anashuka chini.
Statement. So immediately I saw that video. Actually, it is that Alfred Keter video in Bondo that I went for. I went and searched for that video. And so, what was the profile? What is the profile of it that it can cause, because there is nothing he's saying new there that Wamuchomba is not saying, that the same Babu Owino is not saying, and the other Kenya Kwanza leaders or the other Azimio leaders are not saying. He's not saying anything new. What he's saying, even other Azimio leaders are saying. But I feel there is something that is not being laid bare here. Something is not very clear. And probably we may not be told what exactly is not clear. But there is something behind it. And that is why President Ruto is struggling to defend the police, and at the same time is struggling to be the people. There is a cling of people is defending. President is saying the people who went there, their phones were stolen. So what is a phone stolen and a life lost? You know, what is, can you compare the people that were shot, the people that were shot by the police? I kept on saying, and I said yesterday, no one was shot in front of a shop. So, and the work of the police was to protect protesters. So, shouldn't we have then realized that police were supposed to shoot those criminals that were breaking into people's shops? They're the ones that ought to have been shot. Like the video in Rongai is very interesting. Police they went into the supermarket, the clean shelf, they found the looters there. They were all lined down and they were arrested in their numbers. That is what we are talking about. But what is being defended here probably needs more. 3 things that President Ruto is not telling the country. There is a crackdown to profile Keter as behind the protest. In fact, there is a crackdown to try to create a narrative that Alfred Keter, and I know Keter is from Nandi, he's been lethal, by the way. He was lethal throughout Kibaki regime, Uhuru Kenyatta, and even William Ruto. And remember, the school of thought by Kenya Kwanza administration, what they have been saying is that there are some people that wanted to overthrow the government. Now, if someone is arrested, and the way the president is saying, you know, the children is not a big issue because there are also parents who are mourning their kids. So, the kids. So, there is an attempt to profile, and it can blow up in 2 ways. Probably, how about if Gen Z then says they want to side with him? And that brings me to the second point. The arrest of Keter is a signal. Probably the new, the big conversation going on here is Gen Z. And the young leaders have been attracting crowds. Babu Owino was in Githurai. He attracted crowd. Babu Owino was in Bondo. Babu Owino was in Kisumu. Babu Owino has been to these other areas. And probably they understand that there is a crop of leaders that are now getting traction from the Gen Z, because that Generation Z is the biggest threat to any political leader in this country. If they decide to vote and to deplatform you, they'll deplatform you from the church, they'll deplatform you even in the rallies. And then they will deplatform you on the ballot. So probably some fellows are sitting somewhere and realizing that, look here, Babu, Wamuchomba, Keter, there is an alliance being formed here. And there could be a crackdown on that alliance. Number 3, this inhuman arrest is supposed to cause panic. And maybe it has caused it. You know, there are programs that were released next week. And even in Uhuru Park, there were some candles that were lit so that they stand in solidarity with those who died. It happened in Uhuru Park here. There is some sort of solidarity, there is some sort of panic that was to be caused. But I think we need to do more. Kenya Kwanza promised that these abductions and this extrajudicial stuff, activities were not something of the past and they will not be repeated even in this regime. I think we can do better. We can do better because we are soiling the reputation. At this moment, those in power should try to pursue ceasefire, pursue reconciliation. How do you host? How do you call people for a talk? You host church leaders for reconciliation. Then the next day, such a video emerges, even if it is an arrest. I think if you call him to arrest him, maybe you summon him, there's summon for arrests, but it should not be done in that manner. In a Sunday, who is going to execute such a case? Sunday. And in full glare of the cameras. I think we could do better. We could do better. That was not really in order. Thank you.